All right, the Reds, it's Talking Reds, the last Talking Reds before Christmas, and I've got Neil Jones from goal.com, and we're going to have a chat about the Reds, specifically about Mo Salah. Bit of a weird one, this, isn't it, mate? In that, you know, he's done an interview, and I think, as you said in your piece on Goal about him, and as I've seen Ty Hughes allude to on his Athletic piece as well, he doesn't really speak, Mo, does he? He doesn't do interviews. He walks straight past you all in the mix zone in general, and gets his head down. And we can all sort of theorise about why that is, but he sat down and done this interview with a Spanish publication, is it AS, I think?
Yeah.
And obviously then that leads to the knock-on effect of the headlines. And then we've had a international teammate as well sort of come out and say, oh yeah, he's not happy. It's I don't know, I can't get my head around it a little bit. I'm a bit like you're saying in your piece, you can see it as mischief making, you can see it as nothing at all. I just see it as a little bit weird. Like, why would you say the thing about the captain when Trent's in the side and Trent's the local lad and everyone thinks Trent will be a captain one day? It seems a strange thing to publicly air that you've got a cob on about that.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things I think are more important to say than anything else, really. And one is that Salah's fantastic, and his brilliance and his consistency and his impact at Liverpool should never and can never be downplayed for me. So, whatever was his motivation, whatever was in his mind, it's not going to affect him. He won't change the way he plays. He's not going to suddenly stop trying or stop trying to shoot or whatever else. He's going to carry on doing that. So that's always reassuring with the football. I don't think you're ever going to envisage a Fernando Torres situation where you think, has he really sort of, is he down tools a little bit? Probably a bit harsh on Torres, but there was definitely an element to that. His unhappiness manifested itself in its performances. But I think the other thing is, Jurgen Klopp's not upset about it. He didn't leave him out at Palace on the bench because of what had happened. It just isn't what Liverpool or what Jurgen Klopp would do. But he has got a right to sort of think, and Mane, because Mane complained about being taken off in a game Liverpool winning 4-0 at the weekend, and you think, lads, we've just won 7-0, we've just beaten Tottenham, we're going into Christmas top of the league. You're just creating an unnecessary conversation around yourself and around the team. And I think he would be within his rights to sort of say to Salah, mate, what are you doing there? And I think you have to. I read Simon's piece in the Athletic, and I think he summed it up really well. He said there's a reason he's spoken to us. There's not. It wasn't the Guardian, was it? It wasn't. It wasn't the BBC. It wasn't. Anyway, it was a Spanish publication that we know has got the leanings towards Real Madrid, and that's. There's a reason behind that I think he wants to send a little bit of a message somewhere. Whether it's to Liverpool, whether it's to Real, whether it's to both, whether it's just to keep abreast of what's going on. But I mean, the way I look at it, really, in a sporting capacity and in a footballing capacity, I can't make a case for him leaving Liverpool because I believe, and I don't know Salah personally. None of our UK journalists do. I imagine not many journalists do. Full stop. But I do know, and I have been told that legacy is huge to him, and what he leaves behind, and the idea of breaking records, which is what he spoke about in the interview. I want to break all I think he said all club records, which is, I mean, I don't know how he's most appearances. He's going to play till he's 60 or something.
He's not going to break Rushy's record to score.
I wouldn't have thought. I mean, he needed to have joined 5 years earlier than he did, I think. But fair play to him for that. Such a sentiment, and he does believe those kind of things. He wants to, he wants to be. I think you want to win the Ballon d'Or. He'll want to win the PFA Player of the Year. He'll want to win on everything else, Golden Boots. And to me, where's he going to do that? And it's going to be at Liverpool. If you look at it really, your legacy is what you win as a team, and what you win as an individual comes from what you win as a team. And I think the best place for him to win things as a team, and then obviously subsequently as an individual, is at Liverpool. And I don't think anyone at Liverpool is too concerned about it, but I think you would say really that it's probably just a a weekend's worth of conversation that he could have done without, given how well things are going.
Yeah, that was my thing with it, really. Just like, everything seems so good and so positive, and so many things have turned around, and Liverpool have come through all this adversity. And as you say, you sort of wince at it, don't you? Because, we both know that there's a certain type of football reporting, shall we say, that sort of preys on the fears of, Liverpool fans losing a world-class talent, that the banter boys of other clubs who, would absolutely love the idea of a world-class talent like Mo Salah leaving Liverpool. So, and that's gone on forever as well. I think it's worth saying, isn't it? I mean, I was researching a piece a while ago, went into the library, was going through all the old newspapers and stuff, and it really made me laugh when Liverpool won the league in 1990, in the months preceding them being crowned champions. There was a piece in the Echo, John Barnes linked with a move to Real Madrid, and I was like,
"Oh, really? Yeah."
Yeah, I was like, so some things never change.
Yeah. That wasn't Preno, was it? It wasn't Preno right now.
It might have been, mate, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's that is it, isn't it? I mean, it's just that a headline Liverpool could do without. Jurgen Klopp could do without, because let's not sensationalise it, but there you've had on Friday night, Saturday morning, you've had one of his star men criticising a decision to make someone else captain. And he didn't say Klopp was to blame, but he said it's the coach's decision. I respect it, but I was very disappointed. So he's not, he's questioning that decision. And then you've got Mane, his other star forward, on the Saturday, in front of the cameras, going, why am I getting taken off now, or when this corner's coming in? So, God, here we are with problems at the top of the league, I think is the old saying, isn't it? But I think, again, it's just, it's great. It's great for, people who need things to write about with Liverpool. And sometimes, I did make the point in the piece that I wrote for Goal today that there's not much to say about Salah, besides the fact that he got 2, he scored another, he's the top goal scorer, he's broke another record, he's won another trophy. So it does feel sometimes, maybe more so with Salah than any other player that I can remember, really, that a lot of debates focus on sort of perception things. So it's like, he's not smiling after he scores, or, why did he not celebrate that goal? Or, him and Mane don't like each other, do they? Those kind of things. Maybe there's a little bit of, space filling going on there that, well, there's not a great story around Salah besides the fact that he's brilliant, and you can only write that so many times. So I think maybe that comes into it. And obviously, as you alluded to earlier, it doesn't help really when you got one of his, Egyptian former teammates on beIN Sports, sort of definitely setting the cat among the pigeons there, because that gets parroted then, that'll be said by Danny Murphy in a couple of weeks, or that'll be said by, someone on 5 Live or wherever, TalkSport, and that becomes sort of, the fact around it, when I think there's a lot more to it than that. And I think reports of Salah's unhappiness at Liverpool are very much overplayed. And I think if you need any evidence, just have a look at his form, because if he was unhappy, I don't think he'd be performing as consistently and as brilliantly as he is.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to come back in a minute and talk a little bit more about Mo's brilliance and turn this slightly negative thing into more of a positive. But before that, I wanted to play you a clip of the Final Word show, where myself and Rob Gutman were talking about the brilliance of another player, Jordan Henderson. I don't know if you watch those wingman or wingmen videos on Instagram that Robertson and Trent did with the drive.
Oh, yeah.
And there was one where Henderson's in the back, and they're joking with each other, and Henderson says something like, it's all the work I do for you boys, though, to get forward. But, that is generally the accepted thing of Henderson. But in Saturday's game, as we can see here on your screens, Jordan Henderson actually plays more attacking third passes than the 2 full-backs who were expected to do that. And you can see from his, got a little heat map here from SofaScore as well. And you can see literally, he's everywhere. He's absolutely everywhere in this game.
Yeah, very much noticeably as well in the right back position. He spends an enormous amount of his life as an auxiliary right back. But I think that actually gives them a bit of space to look for those longer passes that we like, and it gives them a chance to see the pitch. No, absolutely, they're nothing without him. But to be fair, Gini Wijnaldum did and does a similar job on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the way we play it, somebody needs to rewrite the formation, because the truth is it isn't 4-3-3, is it? The way the fullbacks are. Our fullbacks, Junior Wijnaldum, Henderson and Neera being tucked in fullbacks. I think Bielsa had a system which described this once. What was it? 4-2-3-1-2-7-8. I don't know what the fuck it is, but, you know, he's integral to it, Jordan.
Okay, back in from the clip there from the Final Word show. That's one of our subscriber shows. If you want to subscribe to the Anfield app, do go to theanfieldapp.com. You can also as well buy, or you can gift Anfield app subscriptions. This is a perfect way to get someone a present if you've basically forgot. So all the physical stuff, the t-shirts, the mugs, all that kind of stuff. If you go on our shop now and buy that, unfortunately it won't get to you by Christmas Day. But this is a digital present. And John has promised that he'll stay up until midnight on Christmas Eve. Anyone who orders one of these, he'll put it through for you, so you can print it out. You can give it to your brother, your uncle, your sister, your mum, whatever it may be, and say, "Oh, I've got you an Anfield app subscription there." So there is 3, 6, and 12-month options on the website, theanfieldapp.com. And the Final Word that you just saw there is part of the subscription package. Also, you can download the app for free, get some free tokens, have a go with the premium content, and see what you think. Neil, while you're on, because we were just talking about Henderson there on that clip, I remember a long time ago now, in the early days of Henderson being at Liverpool, that you interviewed him. And obviously he's a different man to what he was then, but in other ways he's the same man to what he was then, if you know what I mean. And I think, I'm pretty sure it was you that he said to sort of, you know, what do the fans think of me?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that was sort of in his thinking, in his psyche.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, it was. You know what? It was the day after the Europa League game. I think they lost to. It was either Young. I think it was Udinese. They lost at home to Udinese. It was either Young Boys or Udinese, and it was either they'd lost or drawn. It was a disappointing result, and he'd been in. If I think back, he was in the Europa League team, and he wasn't in the Premier League team. It was sort of like, you know, that they were his games that he played, and it was the next morning or next lunchtime, and it was in Croxteth Sports Centre obviously in Croxteth. So I remember sitting down, and it was like, you know, one of them weird, we've all experienced them, where you have these sort of weird setups for interview where there's a corridor and you've got to make do with what it is. And we sort of sat on these like temporary chairs in like a little bit of a storeroom, and he sort of, I think it's one of them where you as you start the question, you think, oh, I might have just phrased that wrong. And I said, sort of, you know, you've had quite a bit of criticism after your first year. And he went, yeah. I thought, oh God, you know, got away with that. Good. And he said, I went, you know, do you think it's been fair, the criticism that you've had? And he said, well, what was it? You know, do you want to tell me what it was? You know, I'll tell you if it was fair, and you tell me what the criticism was. And I sort of said, well, I think a few people maybe think you might be, you know, play a bit safe maybe, or you're a bit timid, you maybe don't express yourself as much. And he said, well, yeah, he said, to be honest, yeah, I've had these conversations with people I know, and yeah, I probably would say that I've been times at last season where I could have done more in games. And then he moved on and he said, you know, I feel like I'm going in the right direction. And I mean, that would have been 2012. That was Rodgers' first season. That's 8 years ago. I mean, he was what, 22, I'd imagine at the time, 21, 22. And I mean, I remember writing the piece from that interview and sort of trying to make it a positive thing. And I remember the response it got. You know, I remember the Twitter comments were sort of, he's never going to make it. He won't, you know, like, great attitude, nice lad, but no chance at Liverpool and all that. There was a lot of that going on. So, I mean, I've always been a big proponent, supporter of him as a player and as a person. And I absolutely love seeing things like, you know, Sports Personality of the Year and PFA Player of the Year. You know, it always feels to me like very few players deserve more than that, because I know what he thought at the time, what he sort of worried about at the time, and what he's put into his Liverpool career. You know, I think he's still getting better as well. That's the big thing.
Yeah, it's been a great journey for him, and I think you can see, you know, he's one of those players when he's not in the side now as well. You can see that he's really missed in the Liverpool side. Wanted to do a bit more on Mo, as I mentioned in the first half there, mate. And you know, you touch on in your piece, and you said before yourself that ultimately you end up talking about the brilliance of this man, and there's nothing wrong with doing it again. I love doing it. So, you know, as you mentioned there, 173 games for Liverpool, or appearances for Liverpool, 110 goals, 42 assists, 28 years old now, and his contract's until June 2023. His last extension that I can see was 2018. He's on circa 200 grand a week. You say there that you're convinced that you think Liverpool are going to put down another contract for him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, not that means he's staying for the next 7 years. You know,
no, we've seen that before, haven't we?
We've seen that many times. Luis Suarez and Philip Coutinho, who, you know, plenty before that have signed contracts, and it's a economic reason, you know, in terms of Liverpool protecting the asset. But yeah, how could Liverpool not reward someone like Mo Salah, who not only I think one of the things I didn't mention in the piece, and I look back and I wish I had really, is that not only does he perform consistently and, you know, great goal scorer, creator, you know, leads the line, plays on the right, whatever you need him to do, he's always available as well, and he's so durable. You know, since he signed for Liverpool, he must have missed, I would say, 4 or 5 games through injury, if that. You know, I mean, he had the concussion, didn't he? Obviously, I think he's had maybe one with Chowdhury. Chowdhury did them last season, wasn't it, early on, and he missed the United game. I can't think of many other games that Salah's not been available for. COVID, obviously, yeah. Sorry, yeah, of course, yeah. You can't forget COVID, obviously, yeah. But you know, he's always there, and it's testament to his professionalism, you know, and his preparation, his conditioning. We know what, you know, we saw against United last year. Unbelievable shape he's in, isn't he? You know, he's absolutely, you know, he's a proper gym head, isn't he, Salah? You know, he knows how to he knows how to look after his body, and that's testament to him. And I think that will also stand him in instead with this contract. You know, he's not someone who's you're thinking, well, you know, when's he going to sort of drop off physically? You're looking at him thinking, well, I don't know when his peak's going to be. It could be 32, 33, 34. You know, he's that, you know, well conditioned. So I don't think Liverpool have got any concerns on that front, and I don't think they could ever justify not rewarding what he's done for the club, especially if he goes on and wins more trophies this season. You'd imagine they're gonna. I think they're in good position to win both of the main ones and pop at least one of them. So, I think it's absolutely certain that Liverpool will put something in front of him. Okay, maybe he won't sign it. Maybe he might start to look elsewhere and think he fancies a change of scenery. But again, I would make the case to him, and I don't think it would be a difficult case to make, that everything that you want to achieve in the game, everything you want to leave behind in the game, I think you've got the best chance of doing it at Liverpool, not at Barcelona or Real Madrid, where you might be the symbol of their decline. You might be the sort of, you know, the last Hail Mary of a dying sort of legacy of Zidane or whoever it may be at Barcelona. You know, you might be the Messi replacement. You might be the man who has to go in and try and replace Lionel Messi, and you're on a hide into nothing if you're doing that at Barcelona. So I think Liverpool is where he'll achieve the things that he wants to achieve. He already has, and I think there'll be more to come.
Yeah, I think that's why we're all a little bit like, well, you know, why now, Mo? Because, you know, his form is unbelievable. 13 games, 13 goals in the Premier League this season. The top flight's top scorer. I think you mentioned in your piece, averaging a goal every 83 minutes in the Premier League, 3 in the Champions League as well. So 16 this season already, which is mad. And then you look back at, you know, the 3 seasons before that, 23 goals, 27 goals, and of course 44 in the first season. Unbelievable stats. And this is a crude thing to do, Neil, but, you know, I've done it anyway. If we're looking at Real and Barca and talking about Mo's future and stuff like that, you just said it there, you look at the Champions League odds right now, and Liverpool are round about third favourites, just outside Man City, Bayern Munich are the current favourites. You have to go quite a bit down the list. You can get 18 to 1 on Real Madrid to win the Champions League. You can get 20 to 1 on Barcelona to win it. Yeah. And you look at La Liga as well, you know, Madrid, okay, you know, currently tied with Atletico, but the second, and then Barca are a bit of a way back in 5th, and they've lost 4 games already, and, you know, that's very unlike them. So, as you say, it would seem a weird time to start sort of pitching to go to one of those sides.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and look at the structure of the club and the certainty around Liverpool. You know, okay, there's Klopp's another one, isn't he? That there tends to be these debates on what are Liverpool going to do when Klopp leaves, but there's many years before that's going to be the case anyway. So you've got a manager there who's set. You've got a structure there that's set with the club. You know that they're going to make good decisions from the top down. You've got a team that's fantastic and you don't need to be in the dressing room to know that they seem to get on pretty well and they have a good dynamic in there as well. You've got a competitive league with obviously real good competition in there, and you've got a chance of winning European trophies. There's not a lot missing. Whereas if you go to Real Madrid, I don't know who will be the manager next year. It probably won't be Zidane. So you don't know who it'll be, and those Real Madrid, Barcelona, history will tell you that it's maybe a spin of the wheel to see whether a manager works out there. Good managers can go there in the last 5 months. Strange managers can go there and last a year maybe, but there's not the guarantee that was there maybe once upon a time with those type of clubs. And like you say, I mean, when you said 20-1 in Barcelona, I actually thought it was going to be higher. I wouldn't take 20-1 with anyone's money. On Barcelona winning the Champions League. Real Madrid needed to win the last game to get out the group. They had a pretty poor group stage campaign, and you've seen so many players at those clubs over the last 5 years. Okay, yeah, Real Madrid certainly had an absolutely golden period in terms of winning Champions League. But how many players sort of ended up? Wow, look at James Rodriguez, look at Gareth Bale, look at the struggles Eden Hazard's had now. You look at Barcelona with Suarez, and the way his career finished there. Griezmann, all the trouble he's had. Ousmane Dembele, Coutinho, great players have gone there and not been able to be great players or not been able to sustain their greatness because the environment wasn't there. And I think if I'm advising Mo, and I'm sure he listens to Talking Reds. I'm sure he's got one of those digital subscriptions for Christmas coming on. But if I was advising him, I'd be saying, I'd be thinking twice definitely before I was going anywhere other than Liverpool, because you're not going to get many clubs that are more suited to being a superstar at than Liverpool.
Absolutely, mate. Well said. And also, as well, if he wants to break records, well, it's some graft going there and breaking records.
Well, yeah.
He's already ahead of John Barnes now in the scoring list on Liverpool's all-time great goal scorers. As we said before, some going to catch up to Rushy. But, if he wants to have a crack at it, all the best to him. Neil, thanks very much for coming on today. Brilliant as ever, mate. And if you don't follow Neil already, what are you doing? He is there on Twitter, Neil Jones Goal. Read his piece about Mo Salah and about what we've just been talking about on goal.com as well. This is the last Talking Reds before Crimbo. So everyone have a good one, including you, Neil. And yeah, all the best, up the Reds, and we should be back building up, talking about West Brom, reacting to West Brom, and hopefully Big Sam is not guzzling on gravy after that one, because we've absolutely battered them. Fingers crossed. Nice one, Neil. Up the Reds. That's been Talking Reds.